The time is 2 p.m. You're watching the live broadcast of Market View ERS Text Talk right here on Eswatini TV. I am Natalie Sitole and welcome to the program. With the ERS today, we'll talk about the domestic taxes calendar for 2026. Now, whether you are a salaried employee, a small-scale trader, a growing enterprise, or a large corporation, knowing when and how to file your taxes is quite essential. Filing on time, paying on time, and understanding your obligations can save you from unnecessary penalties and interest. So be sure to tune into our discussion with the ERS as we unpack the key filing and payment due dates that you need to mark in your calendar for the year 2026. But first, our business stories this afternoon. In our business news, the Eswatini Investment Promotion Authority looks to facilitate the opening of a macadamia nuts processing facility in the country, which has a huge market in overseas countries, including the United Kingdom. This has been shared by Sibusiso Mnisi, Manager External Trade Promotion, during the Eswatini United Kingdom Business Forum, which was held at Happy Valley on Wednesday.
We have engaged the industry. They have grown trees, 7 years old, ready to harvest, and they are opening up other plantations to grow more macadamia, which then means we have a potential to export, and also I think we are also venturing into processing as well. So that means South Africa might be even looking at us to supply us with nuts in shell so that we can crack and process them, because we now are going to have the processing facility in Eswatini facilitated by APA.
The authority's executive head investment promotion, Martin Masilela, highlights some of the incentives for investors.
We do have machinery allowances. Initially it used to be 50%, but with the new tax code that was introduced last year, that has been revised downwards to 30% of the value of the machine. I must emphasize that this only is applicable to new machinery, because you find that businesses are expecting that allowance to be extended into second-hand machinery, which basically may be disallowed. Accelerated depreciation rebates when you're exporting outside SACU, as well as SEZ. Most of these incentives, they've got a low uptake. I don't know why.
The Eswatini Investment Promotion Authority is intensifying efforts to attract local and foreign investment. In May last year, APA, under the Ministry of Commerce, Industry and Trade, hosted its first investment conference to showcase opportunities in manufacturing, energy and agriculture. The authority is also modernizing investment laws and has launched a business one-stop shop supported by the International Trade Center and the European Union to simplify investor processes. Reporting, Nelson Dlangamandla, Vuminkosi Nzinisa, Mbabane.
At the end of last year, the National Curriculum Center launched the Financial Literacy Matrix for Eswatini General Education, which embeds financial literacy and ensures that the curriculum moves beyond theoretical knowledge to practical life skills. It empowers learners to understand the value of money, the importance of saving, the implications of borrowing, and of course the benefits of long-term financial planning. This matrix is supported by the Central Bank of Eswatini, the Center for Financial Inclusion, and the Eswatini Bankers Association. The director, Musa Hlope, has unpacked the thematic areas of the matrix.
We talk of the introduction to financial education. Then that goes into the definition, the concepts of what is the concept of financial literacy and financial capability, issues of financial inclusion. CFI is talking about financial inclusion. So you talk of more that is an element of financial. They need to understand those things. Financial personal management, that is under the introduction of financial education. And we address, there's a thematic area that talks to poverty, because the country, we want to undo the poverty mentality. So where we talk of the role of financial literacy in reducing poverty, how best can we do the causes, what are the causes? So you'll find the number of facts that they are there to cause poverty. So we educate them. So issues of banking, we talk about the domestic and international patterns on these issues. Income generation, that is where job creation features. So these are areas that how to generate income, and ethical consideration as you generate income, because we want to create a society that has correct values and attitudes. So what are the ethical issues embedded in there? Issues of theft. We frown at theft. So we teach those concepts and savings, spending, how do you spend? You don't just buy, don't just spend. Issues of investing, credit and debts, and managing and protecting wealth, because these are the areas that we came up with this matrix when we were working with our key partners, because we consult the industry when we come up with the curriculum, because we want it to be impactful. This matrix is one of the curriculum development tools we use, including the syllabus, because it informed the current syllabus. Lama syllabus we are actually going to distribute in the schools. We're developing, and they've been approved. Now we're printing them. Currently we're proofreading. The designers are proofreading. And I took an audit of all these syllabus as well to see whether they included the issues that we addressed in the financial literacy metrics.
And that is your business brief this afternoon. After the break, we're in conversation with the ERS. Stay tuned.
To all the viewers of Eswatini TV in the kingdom and beyond. Eswatini TV is regulated by the Eswatini Communications Commission through the Broadcasting Code and Broadcasting Guidelines. Under these instruments, the station commits to broadcasting information and news that have been fact-checked, programs and content in respectful language with no elements of hate speech, violence or sexual activity. If you hear any unsuitable content on this channel, you have a right to voice your complaints with the station management. Should you not be satisfied with the response or action taken, you can escalate your matter to the Communications Commission at PO Box 7811 Babani. Call 2406 7000 or send an email to info@esccom.org.za. For more information, visit www.esccom.org.za.
Welcome back, and on today's ERS Text Talk segment, we are joined by ERS Marketing and Communications Manager Dutuzo Dlamini and ERS Taxpayer Education and Information Manager Cebo Lenkosi Mahlalela to discuss domestic taxes. Good to have you both in studio, back in studio after so long.
Yeah. Nice.
Cebo, allow me to start with you. What are domestic taxes and why are they so important?
Good afternoon to you, Notsile, and to our viewers as well. It's always a pleasure for us to make it to this program. So yes, today we are discussing domestic taxes and their importance. So domestic taxes are the taxes that are collected or administered within Eswatini. They may be collected from individuals as well as from businesses. They are very important because they fund government public service, essential services. which can include your health care, roads, education, as well as national security. So Notile will agree with me that tax compliance is not just a legal obligation. It's actually very key and important for national improvement and development. Yes.
It adds to the importance of collaborative and inclusive economic growth. Everybody needs to play their part, that is through tax payments. While we speak on those, can we get into the different types of domestic taxes that are there and when they are actually due? Okay.
Yeah, we have quite a list, but today we will focus on the important ones and the core ones. So to start with, we will look at income tax. Income tax is paid or administered by either individuals or companies or businesses, if I may. And we expect that, first of all, a client register with us and have a team with us so that then we'll take them through the journey of how you go about. Income tax is divided into two currently. We are currently running two regimes, which is your normal income tax as well as presumptive tax. For the normal income tax, that is where we collect tax on profit. But when it comes to presumptive tax, this is relatively a new regime which is meant for small businesses who make income or turnover of between 0 emalangeni to 500,000 emalangeni in a year. And this tax is not calculated on profit but on turnover. So now when it comes to the filing due dates, we expect that clients that are registered in income tax, they file not later than the 31st of October every year. How did we come up with the 31st of October? I'll make an example of a client who has their tax year registered runs between 1 July to 30 June. We expect that you file and you pay for your income tax not later than 120 days, which then marks the 1 October after you have closed your books or after you've closed your year, which is 30 June. This applies also for the presumptive taxpayers. We also expect that they file their income tax return not later than the 31st of October each year. What we would like to highlight to our clients today is that over and above us mentioning these days, every year the commissioner is obligated and always ensures that we issue out a notice of filing where we stipulate and highlight who are we expecting to file in that year and which dates, because sometimes you'll find that maybe we will offer our clients some staggered due dates or maybe some grace periods or extension from the, but the dates that we are highlighting today are the statutory dates to say if you are an income taxpayer, we expect that you file. Notile, I'd also like to highlight that it's not only just about filing. The dates that I'm highlighting, they also speak to the payment due date. So if I'm highlighting 31 October, it means even the payment is due on the 31 October. It's very easy. We introduced our Tax Ease portal. That is where our clients are filing. This speaks both to the normal income taxpayers as well as the presumptive tax payers. They still are expected to use the online platform, which is Tax Ease. And we encourage that they keep the dates and they do this prior to the dates that I'm highlighting.
Missing deadlines was definitely discouraged, but should it happen, how big are the repercussions then?
It's not good for our clients to miss the dates. I would like to highlight that, unfortunately, if you miss the date for filing as well as for paying, you unfortunately will be attracting penalties and interest. They are there, they're staggered as well. We can always come back and highlight the specific penalties and the rates, how we calculate. But what I like the most about Tax Ease is that everything is embedded there. You don't need to stress how do you get to calculate. Just ensure that you do your things on time before the highlighted due date so that you're at ease and you are able to avoid these penalties and interest that you are talking about.
File timely, pay as well, just so you avoid penalties. So my next one is for you. Pay as you earn touches on everyone, both employees and employers. What is it that they need to know or rather consider?
All right, thanks, and good afternoon to you, Notile, and the clients. So what's important about pay as you earn is that it is dictated on a monthly basis. And then secondly, we know that it is dictated from our salaries. So what happens here is that the employer deducts this tax on your behalf, and then they submit it to ERS on a monthly basis. And what we could advise is that as employees, the important thing for you to note is to always check your pay slip to see if the deduction was done correctly. And then what we encourage employers is to make sure that they submit on a monthly basis. The important thing to note for employers as they submit for PAYE is to know that the deadline for submitting for PAYE is on the 7th of that particular month. And then, as we know that the Commissioner just does give grace period, which is going to be the 14th of that particular month. But for any PAYE to be able to exist, there should be an employer, an employee, and then there should be a salary. And then that's when we are able to have PAYE being deducted.
There's a grace period. How nice of the service. Glebo, you've touched on normal income tax. You've also touched on presumptive tax. Let's talk provisional tax. What is provisional tax and when is it due?
Okay, so provisional tax is not a separate tax on its own. It's actually an advance payment of income tax. This is where we encourage, it's a system where our clients are able to make installments towards their income tax. This is solely meant to ease the burden so that at the end of the year, you don't find yourself having to pay a large amount towards your income tax. So in Siswati, we refer to provisional tax as sibekela mthelo. It literally just means that you are able that eventually when you now file your annual income tax, you have paid in advance in installments to ensure that you do not owe a big amount when you now file. So when it comes to the deadlines, I'll go back to the first example where you have your year starting from 1 July to June. We expect that you pay your first installment towards provisional tax not later than the last day of the first 6 months. So in my example, that would be the 31st of December. We expect that you pay the first installment. And then for the second installment, we expect that you will file your provisional tax return and pay as well towards provisional tax not later than the 30th of June, which is the last day when you are closing your year. This will help you that whenever now you file your annual income tax, provisional tax is already credited into your account. It will then be used to deduct whatever payable that will be there after calculating your annual income tax. As I am highlighting all this, it is a culture that we encourage that you don't only just stick to the system where we say first installment, second installment. You can just keep on making the installments whenever you feel like, you know, I have an excess, let me just make an installment towards my income tax so that whenever you now file. And what's good, Notsile, is that if it happens that you now file your eventual annual income tax return, and it happens that when we do the calculations, your provisional taxes, which are the advance payments that you've paid before you close your year, are more than your annual income tax, you'll be refunded. You are due for a refund. After we've done our verifications and all that, you will get a refund, which it's up to you. You can choose to commit that for future debts, or it can actually be paid out to you. So we do encourage our clients to take advantage of this and never forget that they are also, it's an obligation. They are also expected to make the installments. The obligated ones are the first installment and the second installment. And then we're saying we do encourage that whenever you feel you have an excess, please ensure that you pay towards your income tax so that whenever you file your annual income tax, it's not much of a huge burden for you to settle your tax debt.
I heard refund. I think that's one thing I really like about, you know, the service. You're saying if people commit to their obligations, there's a benefit to it.
Definitely.
Duduzo, I'll come back to you. What is VAT and when is it due?
So, so VAT is VAT, which is charged on vettable services and goods. And then secondly, we do know that currently the VAT which is charged is 15%. So you do notice that when you go buy as a client or as a customer at shops, you will see your receipt showing that there is VAT which is being charged, which is 15%. So basically that's the tax which we are collecting though on goods and services which are are able to be charged in terms of VAT. So that's what happens on that. And then secondly, the important thing in terms of that, shops collect those VAT and then they submit it to ERS. They also submit it on a monthly basis, and the deadline for VAT is the 20th of each particular month. And once again, and the Commissioner just does open up a grace period up to the 27th of the month. So what's important for us as clients again is to notice that whatever shop you are buying on or buying from, you must see that there should be a certificate for VAT. If a shop is not VAT registered, it's not supposed to collect VAT. And only shops which are VAT registered are able to collect VAT and submit to ERS. If you're not VAT registered, you're not supposed to collect. So we also encourage clients or customers as they buy, just look out for the VAT certificate, and you should know that then your receipt should be showing that VAT was charged.
The VAT certificate is supposed to be on display.
Yes, that's
And if
correct.
I don't see it, do I have the right to request for one?
Yes, you do have the right to request. You can also go on our TaxPal app just to check if that shop is VAT registered.
Right.
If you should have any issues, you're also open to report to ERS.
Before we wrap it up, talk to us about withholding tax.
So in terms of withholding tax, this is a VAT which is charged from source. Mostly it's, for example, your rent or interest or dividends, which you probably get during those transactions. So what happens here is that the person where you've put your interest or the person collecting your VAT does collect that VAT on your behalf and then submit to ERS. So what we encourage here is that they submit also once a month, 15 days after they've closed that particular month, so that they do show that on this particular month this person had so much interest and this is the VAT, this is the tax which they'd collected, and then they submit to us on ERS.
So I'd like for you to sum it up for us. Speak to our clients on why it's important that they take up or act on their tax obligations.
Thank you so much, Notsile. My parting shots would be to remind all our clients that filing and paying on time is not only just a legal obligation. Today we've learned that it's actually very important also for our country's improvement and growth. So we encourage our clients to do things on time. Notsile, I'd also like to encourage our clients and everybody there who's in business to ensure that you are registered with the ERS. You have 18. Even after you've registered, we encourage our clients to maintain their profiles. If anything changes in your profile, you've changed your location, you've changed your contact details, whatever that might change in your profile, please ensure that you notify the commissioner so that we keep an updated profile of our clients. Over and above you registering for 18, we encourage our clients to file before the due dates to avoid any possible disturbances, as well as pay on time to avoid penalties and interest. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Cebo Lenkosi Matlalela and Nduduzo Dlamini, both from the ERS. And today we were discussing domestic tax and why you have to file before the due date. I really do hope that you tuned in and you listened on that one. For now, we'll go for a break. After that, in-house economist Annelise Beya is on standby with the market analysis. Stay with us.
To all the viewers of Eswatini TV in the kingdom and beyond. Eswatini TV is regulated by the Eswatini Communications Commission through the Broadcasting Code and Broadcasting Guidelines. Under these instruments, the station commits to broadcasting information and news that have been fact-checked, programs and content in respectful language with no elements of hate speech, violence or sexual activity. If you hear any unsuitable content on this channel, you have a right to voice your complaints with the station management. Should you not be satisfied with the response or action taken, you can escalate your matter to the Communications Commission at PO Box 7811 Babani. Call 2406 7000 or send an email to info@esccom.org.za. For more information, visit www.esccom.org.za.
Welcome back and thank you for staying with us. In-house economist Sanele Sibia is on standby for us to share insights on the latest in markets. Mr. Sibia, good afternoon. Glad to have you on the program. So what's the market's interpretation of the U.S. Fed's decision to hold rates?
Thank you, Notsile, and a good afternoon to you and also to the viewer. So what we're seeing in markets today is markets really showed a bit of, nonchalantness in terms of what the Feds have actually said, because, we've had those very beautiful earnings coming out from the likes of Microsoft and Tesla. And if you look at those share prices, they keep surging. So what markets are doing right now in the US is focusing on those levels, such that this is reflected in the Dow Jones Industrial Average, topping the markets with 49,000 in overall volumes, and the Nasdaq Composite Index, they're sitting at 40,000, gaining some 40.35 points. That shows that markets are a bit wary about the overall impact of, the overall impact of the overvaluation of those AI stocks, and in the S&P 500, there we're seeing the Standard & Poor losing some 0.57 points. Just reflecting a bit of the fact that we've seen interest rates remaining, very constant. Moving on to the European markets, the FTSE 100 remains at above the 20,000 mark, and that's actually led by the miners and also the bankers. We've seen them posting very beautiful earnings. And then we move to Germany, a major exporting economy. The geopolitical risks around President Trump, wanting to really just attack Iran, that reflects in the German economy because it will disrupt the price of oil, and Germany is a major exporting market. And then when you look in terms of the CAC 40, they're not just staying above 8,000 in terms of overall volumes, just signaling that, those commodity, those luxury stocks are still in good standing. While we move on to the Asian economies, the Nikkei, they're holding steady with a 16.89 percentage points gain, and the Hang Seng, they're gaining 141 points, and the Shanghai Composite Index gaining some 675 points. So markets are mulling over the geopolitical tensions and also over the Fed's decision in the US, but holding steady overall within the region because of domestic fundamentals, which remain very strong. And then coming on to the Johannesburg Stock Exchange, we are looking at yet another record-breaking session at the Johannesburg Stock Exchange, reaching a milestone of 125,210.44 rands in terms of overall share volumes, largely driven by the price of gold, which touched 5,600 earlier on in today's trade, and just back on that 5,499 as we move on through the day. And then in Eswatini, things remains very stable. Nothing has changed. And then in terms of our commodities, gold there has hit another record, and it seems to be surging back up to that record because of what President Trump has said around Iran. And then also those sentiments are filtering through to the oil markets, with the Brent crude, rising up to $68.91 per barrel. And that's the levels we've not seen, since the last half of 2025. Now that geopolitical uncertainty is pushing markets there. So we've seen the Lilangeni earlier on, trading at 560 against the dollar, but we've since seen it, just losing a bit of steam, with the price of oil, because, the buoyancy we've been seeing in the currency has been largely facilitated by the rise in price of metals. That's your silver, your aluminium, and the gold. And in terms of that's how markets are doing today. Not silly. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Sanele, for your insights. In-house economist, the Sanele Sibia, sharing insight on today's trade. This has been Market View ERS Text Talk from myself and the crew. Thank you for staying with us. Until next time, take care.